When we talk about crowd control, one of the few characters we can think about is with animal characters like Kazuha or Venti, and certain reaction like Frozen and Overloaded are one of the popular kind of crowd control, but there is actually another type of crowd control ability that happens behind the scene that not a lot of people seems to actually notice it, because if it works, ideally you will not even see its effect because you are focused on the damage in front of you, and that is stagger. Now stagger might be a familiar topic to you and it might not be, but basically every opponent has a poise threshold. Once you break past that through using certain moves like reactions, charge attack or whatsoever, you will start to invoke the opponent's inner love for heavy metal music all the way till they die or they regenerate that kind of health. Now, why do I want to highlight this kind of situation? Because with the recent release of the Wanderer, even though he has no visible kind of like crowd control abilities, he is an catalyst user, and not to mention he can spam charge attack without any consequences, and for that it meant that he can apply any move every single time he does charge attack, which means he can swirl every single time if you allow him to do so. And when we look into how much points damage Swirl can do, Swirl is actually one of the top few reactions that gave the highest points damage. And this is not even including his charge attack points damage. So in combination of these two factors, he can actually punish opponent pretty easily. Plus, I haven't even included the possibility of what Swirl can do. Like, you can even lead into electro charge, and that basically meant that you can actually deal even higher points damage to break off the opponent's poise, which will basically mean that he will perma stun lock targets into knockback status, which is actually kind of a good way to stop enemy from attacking you. Now, the reason why this kind of crowd control is not too popular, because it does require setup. It's not like the usual crowd control we are used to, like Kazuha and Venti. You just tap E, everything just happens as it is. And Frozen, it's also the same thing. You just execute the skills, you get the result. Plus, stagger is being limited to a few categories. One of the most popular one is the burst itself, which is limited to energy issues and cooldown. The next being knockbacks, which is kind of annoying to deal with, but with the right characters, this is actually not a big issue. And to elemental reaction, which is often limited to internal cooldown limitations. And lastly, charge attack can also deal the same kind of result, but is limited to your stamina consumption. With all that in mind, it is a kind of crowd control that a lot of people can execute, but it's often limited to those kind of conditions. It is like no other crowd control abilities, and you can execute your skills to its fullest without being interrupted by the monster. I just want to highlight that although a lot of characters can deal poise damage, not all characters has the ability to deal a lot of poise damage like the Wanderer does with his charge attack spam. The other character that I can think about is in Constellation 1 Wu Tao. So moving forward, I think it's good to highlight a character being able to produce this kind of result, and that is basically it.